Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, you can expect to find a lot of videos on the homeschooling lifestyle, everything from education to tutorials and even a couple of organizational videos thrown in there as well. Today I want to talk about something that I have gotten a lot of questions about. It's basically how I budget for our homeschool year. If you're new here and you haven't checked out some of our curriculum hauls, you might notice that they are extensive, almost epic. We do purchase a lot of things. However, we are purchasing this using educational funding from our charter school. We're not paying for any of these materials out of pocket. Now it has pros and cons, of course, and one of the biggest drawbacks is that none of the things that we purchased are actually things that we own. When we leave the school, we need to return everything. However, we've been with the school for about 8 years now, and I have a kindergartner, so I expect that we'll probably be with the school for a really long time, and by then I don't think we're going to want a lot of the things that we have purchased over the years. And if there's really something that we have grown attached to, of course at that point I could purchase that item. So that is probably the biggest drawback of having this educational funding, is that we don't actually own any of the things that we are buying. However, the biggest perk is that we have this educational funding to buy the things that we want to use in our homeschool. And one of the purposes of me showing you all these things in our homeschool and curriculum hauls is so that you can be aware of the things that are out there, especially the books. Because one of the things that really frustrates me when I'm trying to go and buy a book is that I can never really see the whole book. I can't see the insides. I can't see how thick it is, or if the content, what age it's appropriate for, what grade it's appropriate for. Are there any illustrations? Sometimes you only see the front and back cover, and on occasion you might see a couple of pages or the table of contents. So when I'm doing my curriculum hauls, it's really important for me to show you as much of the book as possible, or as much of the kits or any of the other materials that we're getting, and to give you a fair review and feedback of those items so that you can best purchase what you need for your homeschool, because I understand that everybody is on a budget and we don't have disposable income to buy whatever it is we want when it comes to homeschooling, and if it doesn't work out, no big deal. Now, we've been homeschooling for a while, obviously, so we have collected a lot of material over the years. Now, we didn't always homeschool with a charter. When we first started homeschooling, we didn't have educational funding, and then at one point we were completely independent, which meant we paid for everything out of pocket. Those were years where I was extremely frugal. We didn't have a set of crayons. Now, mind you, these are the expensive Waldorf crayons for the whole family. We just had one set that we all shared. Same with the paintbrushes and the paints. A lot of these things, we just had one and we shared. Now that we have our educational funding, each of my kids can have their own set. But when you're on a tight budget and you're trying to budget for the homeschool year, then I would suggest a couple of things. Number one is to look for things that are going to be used and shared by the family. One-off items aren't so great when you're on a tight budget. So a really nice set of block crayons is going to last you for all of your kids, because you know, I still have my block set of crayons back when I was in first grade, because I went to a Waldorf school. So those things are going to last because they're really good quality. Something else that you might consider spending a little money on is museum membership. Now, we have the ASTC museum membership, and they have reciprocal membership to a lot of museums all over our state and all over the world. Something else that you might consider is using your public library. Now, this is a no-brainer for homeschoolers and probably for everybody, because you can get whatever you need from your library for free, as long as you don't have to worry about those late fees. Now, if you're using the library, you might run into a couple of problems: not being able to check out your books long enough, having to transfer from other libraries, and I realize that this can be kind of an annoyance or a difficulty. So check with your library to see if they have a teacher card for you. Now, this varies from county to county and state to state. When we lived in Texas temporarily, the library system there was phenomenal. I could transfer from library to library, I could hold, and there were no late fees. So those three things made it fantastic for using the public library, because there were no late fees, there were no fees for transferring to other libraries, and there were no fees for holding books, which meant that I could walk in with my toddler and pick up the stack of books that I had reserved online. It was so easy. Now, here in California, we do have late fees and we do have transfer fees, so you have to be a little bit more choosy about how you're going to get your books. But I know that with our local library system, they have extended the period of time where you can check out books, which makes it so much easier, especially if you're doing a unit study on a particular subject area and you really need those books for a period of time and you need to return them. There's nothing more frustrating in my experience than having to give up a book when I'm still using it. When it comes to consumable products like paper and watercolor paper and drawing paper, we go through a lot of paper, I suggest just totally checking the sales. Back when we homeschooled independently, I got really familiar with the prices of those items at my local craft store, and I got really good about finding out when they were going to be on sale and what coupons I could use, and we've saved a lot of money that way. Same goes for other expensive products like color pencils or watercolors. If you just search the sales and are familiar with the quality of the products and the prices, then you won't be overspending on the things that you need. The last item, well, actually I totally didn't even talk about actual curriculum, which yes, that is probably one of the priciest things that you're going to buy. But let's put that aside for a second and talk about some of the other consumable items that you might be using, like kits and projects and even some toys you might add into your homeschool. That's going to be something that you're going to have to use your own discretion about and figure out what's going to work best for your family. Some of our favorite toys are the open-ended creative toys that have lasted for all of my kids. Kapla blocks are amazing. I'll leave a link down below so that you can check them out. And of course, Legos. Legos are awesome. Another thing that the kids have really enjoyed over the years are silks and fabrics and pretty much anything in order to build a fort. Now, early on when I first had my oldest son, we made him a teepee using dowels that we got from the hardware store, and we still have that today, and he's 18, so that has had tons of longevity. It was such a good value. We made it on our own. It wasn't more than $30 or $40, and we just used an old sheet to cover it, and the kids have gotten hours and hours and years of playtime out of that. Even an old sheet will do the trick when it comes to building forts. As long as you have some soft cushions, a tabletop, and some sheets, your kids can have hours of creative open-ended play, and it hardly costs you anything at all. So those are some tips I have for you for budgeting for the school year. If you have more tips, please leave them below in the comment section. I'd love to know how you budget for the school year. Oh yeah, and if you want to check out one of those curriculum hauls I was talking about, you can click right here. Or right up, two of them. Yeah, you can check them both out, actually. They're both pretty good, kind of, I guess. I mean, we've enjoyed them. Kids have enjoyed them. I've enjoyed them.